The morning sun cast long shadows across the United Nations Plaza in New York as Dr. Han Da-won adjusted his tie. He had practiced for first contact scenarios many times, but today was real. A real alien ship hung in orbit above Earth, and he would be the first human to speak with them. "The ship is starting their descent, sir," his assistant said, checking a tablet. Screens around the room showed the alien vessel, smooth and silver, shaped like a water drop. It was smaller than expected, only about the size of a passenger plane. In 30 minutes, Han stood with a small welcome team as the ship landed softly on the massive UN landing pad. The air crackled with energy, and a gentle hum filled the area. Security teams stayed hidden but ready, just as they had planned. A door appeared in the smooth hull, flowing like water. From it stepped the alien diplomat Cax. He looked almost human, except for his blue-tinted skin and eyes that seemed too large. 2 guards followed him, carrying what looked like data tablets. "Welcome to Earth," Han said with a bow. "I am Dr. Han Da-won, representing the United Nations of Earth." Cax smiled, but something felt wrong about it. "We are pleased to make contact with your world. I represent the Galactic Council, the governing body of civilized space." They moved inside to a conference room. Through a translator device, Cax explained how the Council guided young species into the galactic community. His words were friendly, but his tone reminded Han of old colonial powers talking to native peoples. "We have watched your development," Cax said. "Your species shows promise, but you need guidance. The Council offers protective oversight of Earth. We will help you advance properly." Han kept his face neutral, but inside he felt a spark of anger. He had read enough history to recognize these words. They were the same words powerful nations had used before taking over weaker ones. "Thank you for your offer," Han said carefully. "However, Earth is a sovereign world. We prefer to develop at our own pace." Cax's smile dropped for a moment. "You misunderstand. The Council does not offer this lightly. We have experience guiding developing worlds." "We understand completely," Han said. His voice stayed polite but grew firmer. "Earth appreciates the Council's interest, but we must decline. We will make our own way among the stars." The alien's large eyes narrowed slightly. "Perhaps you should discuss this with your world leaders. The Council's protection is very valuable." "Our position is clear," Han said. "Earth welcomes peaceful contact and trade, but we will remain independent." The meeting ended shortly after. Cax's ship left Earth orbit within the hour. To many, it seemed the aliens had accepted Earth's choice with grace. But Han knew better. He had seen the flash of anger in Cax's eyes. As he wrote his report that night, he added a warning. "The Galactic Council views Earth as a primitive world to be controlled, not an equal to be respected. They will return, and not with friendly intentions." He was right. In the Deep Space Monitoring Center outside Seoul, Captain Jin Suho watched the alien ship leave. His screen showed something the aliens didn't know humans could detect: coded transmissions to hidden ships waiting beyond Mars. "Send word to all commands," Jin said to his crew. "Tell them to begin preparations. We're about to have unwanted guests." As Earth's militaries quietly mobilized, most humans went about their daily lives, unaware that their world had just taken its first step into a very dangerous galaxy. But thanks to people like Han and Jin, Earth would not be caught unprepared when the Council returned. They had 6 months to get ready. Captain Jin Suho hadn't slept properly in days. The Korean Space Defense Force Command Center hummed with activity as screens showed what everyone had feared. The Council ships were back. This time, they weren't being friendly. 15 ships detected, Captain. Lieutenant Park Mina reported from her station. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel. "They're bigger than the diplomat ship." "Much bigger." Jin nodded, his face calm despite the tension in the room. "Are their weapons active?" "Yes, sir. They're not even trying to hide it." The Council fleet moved past Mars, their engines glowing bright against the black of space. They thought they were being clever, approaching from multiple angles. They didn't know that Earth had been watching them since they entered the solar system 3 days ago. Jin pressed a button on his chair. All stations, this is Captain Jin. Begin Operation Shield Wall. Across Earth, hidden defense systems came to life. In underground bases, submarine pens, and mountain bunkers, humanity's real military power woke up. For decades, Earth had shown the public only basic space technology. The real advances had stayed hidden, waiting for this day. The Council ships entered Earth orbit, their formation perfect. A transmission came through on all channels. Primitive world Earth, a voice boomed. You have rejected Council protection. We are here to correct this mistake. Surrender your world's control to Council oversight, or face the consequences. Jin looked at Park. Send them our answer, Lieutenant. Park smiled and pressed a single button. Across Earth's orbit, hundreds of hidden satellites activated. Quantum shields, technology the Council thought impossible for primitive humans, sprang up around the planet. The Council ships suddenly found themselves trapped inside a web of defensive screens. Enemy ships are powering up weapons, Park reported. They're trying to break free. Let them try, Jin said. Show them why Earth doesn't need their protection. The Council fleet fired their weapons. Energy beams struck Earth's shields and scattered like water on glass. Their most powerful shots couldn't even leave a mark. Then Earth showed its teeth. From the dark side of the moon, human ships appeared. Not the simple spacecraft the Council expected, but warships built in secret. They were smaller than the Council vessels, but moved with incredible speed and precision. All ships, engage as planned, Jin ordered. Disable only. Let's show them how primitives fight. The battle lasted exactly 7 minutes. Earth's ships danced between the Council vessels, their quantum-based weapons shutting down enemy systems with surgical precision. No ships were destroyed, but by the end, 13 of the 15 Council ships floated helpless in space. The 2 remaining Council ships fled, their engines burning at full power. They carried with them images of impossible human technology and the shame of total defeat. In the command center, Park checked the final reports. No casualties on either side, Captain. Our systems performed perfectly. Jin finally allowed himself to smile. Send word to command. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. Later that night, Jin met with Admiral Lee Junho in a secure room deep under Seoul. The Admiral looked pleased as he reviewed the battle footage. They'll be back, Lee said, pouring tea for both of them. And they'll bring more ships next time. Yes, Jin agreed, accepting the tea. But now, they know we're not helpless. And they don't know about our other surprises. True, Lee smiled. Dr. Kim Hai-jin's quantum detection system caught their hidden probes. They still think their technology is superior. That's good, Jin said. Let them keep thinking that. Pride comes before the fall. As they discussed plans for the coming days, messages raced across space. The Council fleet commander reported their failure to their superiors. But more importantly, other alien species who had watched the battle began to whisper among themselves. Humans weren't primitive at all. They were something much more interesting and much more dangerous. Admiral Lee Junho sat at the head of the large conference table in the underground UN defense bunker. The air felt heavy with tension. On the screens around them, a massive Council fleet hung in high orbit. 30 ships this time, each one bigger than their last attack force. They're here to threaten us, Dr. Kim Hai-jin said, looking up from her data pad. Her quantum detection systems had tracked the fleet's approach for the past week. But they don't know what we know. The door opened, and the alien diplomat Cax walked in, flanked by 2 tall guards. His blue skin seemed paler than during his first visit, and his usual smooth smile looked forced. Earth's defenders, Cax said, his translator making his voice sound flat. The Council is disappointed in your previous response to our generous offer. Please, sit down, Lee said calmly. Would you like some water? Cax ignored the offer. You have advanced technology that you hid from us. This is not acceptable. Primitive worlds must be open about their capabilities. Dr. Kim smiled quietly. She pressed a button on her pad, and the room's main screen lit up. It showed images that made Cax's large eyes grow even wider. You mean technology like this? She asked. The screen showed council ships in various star systems, all captured through quantum observation. Or perhaps you'd like to discuss the failed guidance of the Proxima colonies, or the mining operations in the Sirius sector. Cax's blue skin turned almost white. How? How did you? We've been watching the council for 30 years, Dr. Kim said. Quantum observation doesn't care about distance. We saw how you guided other species. How many civilizations did you force into submission by calling them primitive? Admiral Lee leaned forward. Earth was never primitive, Cax. We just learned it was better to watch and wait, to see who our real friends and enemies might be. This is impossible, Cax said, but his voice shook. Your species only achieved spaceflight recently. You cannot have this technology. Would you like to test that belief? Lee asked quietly. Your fleet up there is impressive, but ask yourself, if we could watch you for decades without you knowing, what else can we do that you don't know about? The room fell silent. Cax looked at the screens again, seeing more and more evidence of Earth's hidden surveillance of council activities. Years of secret meetings, hidden deals, and forced guidance of other worlds. The council will not accept this, Cax said, but he sounded unsure. Dr. Kim stood up. The council doesn't have a choice. You can leave Earth alone and keep your reputation, or we can share what we know with every species in the galaxy, including the ones you're currently trying to guide. Cax's translator couldn't hide the tremble in his voice. You would dare blackmail the council? Not blackmail, Lee said. A warning. Leave Earth alone. Let other worlds choose their own paths, or everyone will know how the mighty council treats its primitive friends. The meeting ended quickly after that. As Cax's shuttle rushed back to his fleet, Admiral Lee and Dr. Kim watched from the bunker's observation room. They'll try something else, Lee said. The council won't give up power easily. No, Dr. Kim agreed. But now, they know we're watching, and they don't know what else we can do. In space, the council fleet turned away from Earth, but on hundreds of worlds across the galaxy, quantum signals carried news of what had happened. Earth hadn't just resisted the council, they had watched them for years. They had proof of the council's true nature. The whispers began. If Earth could stand up to the council, maybe others could too. The galaxy was about to change. Commander Yoon Hae-Newell didn't expect to become Earth's secret diplomat. Yet here she was, in a hidden station on the dark side of the moon, meeting with aliens who wanted to talk without the council knowing. Another ship requesting contact, her assistant said. This one's from the Centauri system. The meeting room was busy today. 3 different alien species already waited in separate chambers. They all came the same way. Small ships, running dark, hoping the council didn't notice them. Yoon walked into the first chamber. The alien inside looked like a tall, red-skinned human with 4 arms. He represented a mining colony that was tired of council control. Earth stood up to them. The alien said, "We want to know how." It's not about technology, Yoon explained. It's about being ready and working together. All day, she heard similar stories. The council would come to a world, call them primitive, and slowly take control. They would give some technology, but take much more in return. Many worlds wanted to break free but were afraid. In the second chamber, a group of blue crystal beings told her about their home world's resources being taken by the council. In the third, bird-like aliens spoke about their ships being controlled by council safety systems. Earth is different, one of the crystal beings said. You saw them coming. You were ready. Yoon shared what she could. Defensive strategies, ways to hide technology, methods to work together. But more importantly, she listened. Every story, every secret, helped Earth understand the galaxy better. Back in her office, she sent a secure message to Earth. More contacts today. The network is growing. The response came from Admiral Lee. Good. Have any of them mentioned the Orient sector? Yoon checked her notes. Yes. The crystal beings say there's unrest there. 3 worlds are close to rejecting Council control. This was how it had been for weeks now. Ever since Earth revealed they had been watching the Council, other species had started reaching out. Some wanted help. Others wanted to share information. All of them wanted to know how Earth stayed free. A new alert flashed on her screen. Another ship was approaching, using the secret signals Earth had shared with their new friends. Commander, her assistant called. The new ship. It's from a world that rejected Council control 10 years ago. They'd been hiding their true technology level ever since. Yoon smiled. This was even better than they'd hoped. Not just worlds that wanted freedom, but worlds that had already found it. Earth wasn't alone after all. She opened a channel to the ship. Welcome to Earth space. We've been looking forward to meeting others who choose their own path. The response came in clear. We've been watching too. Maybe it's time we all stopped hiding. Later that night, Yoon sent her daily report to Earth's Defense Command. The list of friendly contacts was growing. The galaxy wasn't as controlled as the Council pretended. There were free worlds out there, hiding their strength just like Earth had. The Council is losing control, she wrote. They just don't know it yet. In response, Admiral Lee sent just 2 words. Phase 3. Yoon looked out her office window at the stars. Out there, dozens of worlds were quietly preparing to stand up to the Council. Earth had shown them it was possible. Now they just had to work together. The whispers were becoming a movement. Soon, they would become a revolution. And the Council still didn't understand what was really happening. 1 year had passed since Earth first said no to the Council. Now, the UN Assembly Hall in New York was filled with beings from 20 different worlds. Some looked almost human. Others were very different. Beings of crystal, light, or shapes humans had never imagined. Dr. Choi Ta-Yang stood at the front, showing them Earth's defense systems. He was proud but also careful. These were friends, but new friends. Our quantum shields can protect entire planets, he explained. We're ready to share this technology with all of you. In the audience, representatives from different worlds watched closely. They had all come in secret, hiding their ships from Council patrols. Each one had their own story of fighting Council control. Captain Song Minji walked onto the stage next. She commanded Earth's new space fleet and had trained with crews from 5 different worlds already. Together, we're stronger than alone, she said. My crews have learned things from your pilots that we never thought possible, and we've taught them a few surprises too. The hall buzzed with excitement. This wasn't just a meeting. It was the start of something new, something that would change the galaxy. The Council thinks they control everything. Song continued. They don't know that we've been training together, that we've been sharing technology and knowledge. A tall crystal being stood up. 3 days ago, my world officially rejected Council control. They threatened us, but our new quantum shields held. They had to leave. Others began sharing similar stories. One world had kicked out Council advisors. Another had shut down Council monitoring systems. Each success made the others braver. This is why we're here today, Dr. Choi said. To make our alliance official. To stand together. They called it the Free Systems Alliance. 20 worlds signed the agreement that day. They promised to help each other, share technology, and fight together if needed. Captain Song led them through the first joint military exercise that afternoon. Ships from a dozen worlds flew together near Jupiter, hidden from Council sensors. They practiced fighting as one fleet, combining their different styles and technologies. Look at that, Song said to her crew as ships danced through space. The Council said we were all primitive, but look what we can do together. Back on Earth, The Alliance leaders made plans. They set up secret trade routes. They shared ways to hide from Council ships. Most importantly, they shared hope. Dr. Choi showed them something special before they left. A new quantum communication system. It would let Alliance worlds talk to each other without the Council knowing. They still think they're in control, he told them. Let them think that. It makes them careless. As the representatives headed home in their hidden ships, Earth's leaders met to discuss what would happen next. The Council will notice soon, Song said. Too many worlds are saying no to them now. Good, Dr. Choi replied. Let them come. We're not hiding anymore. That night, quantum signals flashed between Alliance worlds. More ships trained together in secret. More worlds prepared to stand up to the Council. In her ship near Jupiter, Captain Song watched the Allied fleet practice one more time. Ships of all shapes and sizes moved as one, protecting each other, working together. Send word to all Alliance worlds, she ordered. Tell them we're ready for Phase 4. The Council had ruled the galaxy by keeping worlds afraid and alone, but they had made a big mistake with Earth. They had shown humans that there were others out there who wanted to be free. Now those worlds weren't alone anymore. And they weren't afraid either. The real fight was about to begin. Major Bak Do-hyun knew this day would come. 100 Council warships jumped into the solar system, the largest fleet ever seen. Their message was simple: surrender or be destroyed. They're targeting Earth and all Alliance ships, his second officer reported. They're not here to talk this time. Bake stood on the bridge of Earth's new flagship, the Defiance. Around him, crews from 20 different worlds worked together. The Alliance had known this battle was coming. They were ready. Send the signal, Bake ordered. Start Operation Final Stand. The Council fleet moved forward, their weapons charged. They expected to find Earth defended by a few ships and some quantum shields. They were wrong. From behind Mars, the Alliance fleet appeared. 500 ships of all sizes and shapes, built by 20 different worlds. Each one carried technology shared between Alliance members. Each one was ready to fight. Council fleet is demanding we stand down. Communications reported. They say this is our last chance. Bake smiled. Show them our answer. Quantum shields sprang up around the Alliance fleet, but they were different now. Dr. Choi's team had combined Earth's shields with crystal technology from their allies. The new shields glowed with power that the Council had never seen before. All ships, attack pattern Delta, Bake commanded. Show them what free worlds can do. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. Alliance ships moved as one, using tactics no single world had known before. Crystal ships provided shields, while Earth vessels struck with quantum weapons. Ships made of light flashed between enemy vessels, disrupting their systems. On his command screen, Bake watched the Council fleet's formation break apart. They had trained to fight scared worlds, worlds fighting alone. They didn't know how to fight worlds working together. Enemy flagship is pulling back, his tactical officer called out. Their shields are failing. The Council fleet tried to regroup, but Alliance ships were everywhere. Each world had brought its best technology, its best tricks. Combined, they were unstoppable. Council ships trying to jump out of the system, someone reported. 87 of their ships are too damaged to jump. Bake opened a channel to the Council flagship. Your fleet is defeated. Your ships are damaged. Surrender now. The Council commander's voice shook as he responded. Impossible. You're supposed to be primitive worlds. How did you do this? We're not primitive, Bake said. We just let you think we were. Now, power down your weapons. The battle ended in less than an hour. The Council lost 60 ships. The rest retreated or surrendered. Not a single Alliance ship was destroyed. As cleanup began, Bake received messages from across the galaxy. Other worlds had watched the battle through quantum sensors. They had seen the Council's greatest fleet defeated by the Alliance. Sir, his communications officer said, we're getting calls from 30 new worlds. They want to join the alliance. Later, in his quarters, Bake wrote in his log, "Today we showed the galaxy something important. It's not about being primitive or advanced. It's about working together. The Council kept worlds afraid and alone. We showed them a better way." He looked out his window at Earth, peaceful and blue. Around it, ships from 20 different worlds worked together, helping damaged Council ships and keeping watch for more threats. "Send word to Earth Command," he told his officers. "Tell them Phase 5 is complete. The galaxy will never be the same." The Council's power was broken. They had ruled through fear and lies, keeping worlds divided. But they had never faced united worlds before. They had never faced worlds that chose to be free. Now they had, and they had lost. 6 months after the Great Battle, Dr. Han Da-won stood in the same room where he had first met Cax. But now, instead of one alien diplomat, he faced representatives from 50 worlds. The old UN chamber had been rebuilt to hold beings of all shapes and sizes. "The Council is gone," Han said. "Not destroyed, but changed. They hide in their space now, away from other worlds. They pretend we don't exist. That's good. We don't need them anymore." Han had come full circle. The man who first said no to the Council was now the first chairman of the new Mutual Defense and Development Protocol. A fancy name for a simple idea: worlds helping each other grow stronger. "Today, we're different," he continued. 50 worlds working together. Not because anyone forced us, but because we choose to. The changes could be seen everywhere. Ships from different worlds moved freely through space. Trade routes ran between stars that had never talked before. Young worlds learned from older ones, and old worlds learned new tricks from the young. In orbit above Earth, Captain Jin Suho, now Admiral Jin, watched ships from 30 different worlds train together. "Remember when they called us primitive?" he asked his crew. "Now they study our quantum technology, and we study their crystal drives. Everyone learns, everyone grows." The Council still existed, but they stayed in their own space now. They pretended Earth didn't exist. They acted like they had never heard of the Alliance or the Protocol. When their ships saw Earth vessels, they turned away. Other worlds told stories about Earth, about the planet that said no, about humans who showed that being advanced wasn't about having the best weapons, but about working together. Many worlds now sent their young people to Earth to learn. Dr. Kim Hae-jin led the new science exchange program. "Every world has something to teach," she told her students from 12 different planets. Even the smallest world might have the next big idea. The protocol grew stronger each month. More worlds joined, bringing their knowledge and culture. Earth wasn't the leader. Every world had an equal voice. That was what made it work. Han looked at the new galaxy map in his office. Green lights showed protocol worlds, getting brighter as more joined. The old Council space was gray, growing smaller as they pulled back. "They never understood," he said to his assistant. "They thought being advanced meant controlling others. We showed them it means helping each other grow." In space stations across the galaxy, people told stories about Earth. Not about its weapons or shields, but about its choice. The choice to say no to control. The choice to help others be free. Some worlds still sent ships to watch Earth from far away. Council worlds, trying to understand what had happened. They saw a planet busy with ships from 50 different worlds. They saw new technologies being created by worlds working together. They saw strength built not through control, but through friendship. That was why they pretended Earth didn't exist. The truth was too hard for them to accept. The primitive worlds they had looked down on had created something better than the Council ever had. Han's final report as chairman said it best. "They called us primitive because we were different. They tried to control us because they were afraid. Now they ignore us because we proved them wrong. Earth showed the galaxy a better way. We don't mind being ignored by those who can't understand that." The galaxy had changed. The age of control was over. The age of worlds working together had begun. And it all started because one small primitive world dared to say no.